Hello my lovely Witcher friends, this is Kadima with one more video on the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for the next gen consoles. This time I'm going to talk to you about the Gwent game inside the Witcher 3 game. So the Gwent game, for those who are unfamiliar or who skipped or didn't really get into the game, it's a card game inside the Witcher 3 game, which can be very fun if you get into it. And it allows you to focus on something more to do during your exploration of all the areas in The Witcher 3. So for the Gwent card game, as soon as you start the game and you reach the initial area, White Orchard, and you visit the innkeep, which is this area here where your stash is, you come across a Gwent card player. Which will teach you the basics, but it doesn't really teach you much. It just throws you there and hopes that you win. Doesn't really explain what is what with into much detail. So the Gwent card game basically is a card game based on strategy, and by strategy I mean that it's not just about putting the cards down and hoping for the best. Is you gotta go in a way that will try to ensure you victory, even if at times you actually have to sacrifice turns in order to win on the final run. So another thing I want to point out is as soon as you reach White Orchard, the innkeeper will sell you Gwent cards, and also there is a merchant here which will also sell you some cards. Make sure you buy every card that you come across in merchants and innkeeps, and you defeat all the Gwent players, because you will need all of those Gwent cards that you can get to complete your Gwent collection, which is one of the achievements you get from playing The Witcher 3, in case you are unfamiliar with the trophy system for this game. You might want to get your hands on as many cards as you can as you go along, also to improve your collection and to give you more options for your decks. Now back to this guy here where I am at the moment. I'm in Vizima after speaking to the Emperor and speaking to Yennefer. This is the first real Gwent player that you can play against. So I am about to play him now, and as I play, I will show you a few things. I always like to bet as much money as I can. Now to the deck. Now, you start with the Northern Realms deck, but there are 3 more realms, which are the Skoya Tael, which, as you can see, I've got no cards in this one just yet, because I just started the game. You got the Monster set, and you got the Nilfgaardian Empire, which I'm very low on, as you can also see. Back to the Northern Realms and the ones that you start. When you first open this thing, you got all of these cards in your deck. Now, I don't like having 2 of each of these. I like to have only 1, because the more of these you have, the more chances are you are going to draw these cards. And I don't want to draw repeated ones. And sometimes I actually get rid of them completely, depending on what I have going on in my hand. Also, another thing you want to keep in mind is your leader. All cards come with 4 or 5 different leaders, which you will have to unlock the remaining ones by collecting the cards. But from scratch, you can get your hands on these 2 first thing until you reach this guy. And this one will pick up an impenetrable fog card from your deck and play it instantly. This one will clear any weather effect like Biting Frost, Torrential Rain, or impenetrable fog cards in play. I like to have my hands able to pick up the impenetrable fog, but what you have to keep in mind is that you need to have the impenetrable fog card in your deck to be able to use the leader ability. If you by any chance remove the impenetrable fog, you'll be wasting your leader ability because you will not have one to collect. Also, I like to make sure I for example, these little cards that will give you 1s and 2s only, because they are not very useful. They will just get in the way. This one is a special ability card, so this one will share will add to each other if you have two in play. So the poor fucking infantry, which is the name of the card, and I'm sorry for the language, it's a one power card, one strength, if you want to use that term instead, that goes into the close combat section, which I will tell you more about in a minute. But if you have two of these in play, they will give each other their powers. So if they are level 1, they will be level 2. If they are level 2 and you play a third one, they will all be level 6. If you know what I mean. They will all plus each other. No, in this case, they will all be level 3, sorry, because they will share 1 plus 1 plus 1. So they don't multiply, they add. Certain cards will multiply, but we'll get into that more in a minute. Going into the rest of my deck, so you got close quarters, close combat cards, which is the one represented with a sword. You've got the ranged cards, which are the ones represented with a bow and arrow, and you got the siege cards. The Northern Realms cards that you start are very heavy on the siege area. It's where you will get your better cards with the best abilities and the best combinations you can get. But also, these Blue Stripes Commando can also be very useful. So you want to try to get your hands on those as well as soon as you can. Oh, I accidentally removed this one, sorry. So another thing I want to point out is, for example, a card like, where is it? This one with the handshake I already spoke about. It's the one that will add to a similar card. So if I was to have two catapults with the same name, instead of being 8, they will be 16. The same thing applies to this one, the Blue Stripes Commando. I have 3 of them in my deck. If I have 2 in play, there will be 8, 8. I have all 3 of them, there will be 12, 12, 12. So they add up to each other, making your close combat area much stronger, which will probably help you win. This one here, it's a different scenario. This will not add just to each other, but they will add to the entire section. So this, as when I play this card into the siege area, this will add 1 to all the cards in the siege area. So for example, this one, instead of being a 5, it will be a 6. So it will also, it's also something to have in mind in terms of strategy. Now this one here, the Dun Banner Medic, it's what I call a resurrection card. When you play this card, it will give you the option to go to the graveyard, to the cards that have already been used or destroyed in the previous round, or in the current round. If a card is destroyed, it goes to the graveyard area, and it will allow you to return one of those cards back to the field. One of my strategies, if I can, is to return spy cards, and this is a spy card right here, represented by the little eye symbol. Spy cards are very useful in the sense that they will not be added to your side of the field. When I play this card, I will basically give it to my opponent. My opponent will keep it, but I will draw 2 cards. So drawing cards is a very powerful effect in this game. The more cards you draw, the more the chances are that you will get the cards you need to ultimately win the game. Keep in mind that this opponent I am about to face also has spy cards, so when he plays his spy cards, they're going to end up on my side of the field. So when they get destroyed, they will go into my graveyard. So that's when I can use this card to go back for the graveyard, collect that spy, and get 2 cards in return. Another very useful card is the Decoy. The Decoy is basically a card that you play, it goes onto your side of the field, but allows you to return 1 card from the field to your hand. So if my opponent plays a spy, the spy stays on my side of the field and he gets to draw 2 cards. But then I will return the spy to my hand, and then I will play the spy and I will get to draw 2 cards. So there's a lot of strategies going on in here that you can take advantage of if you know what you're doing. So nothing like giving you an example on how to play the game. So I will go first. I have a decoy, which is perfect. I love having decoys because if my opponent has spies, that is perfect. And I also have a spy of my own. So it's also very useful. In this case, I'm very inclined to sacrifice impenetrable fog because I can always get it back. And these two here, there's a difference I want to alert your attention to. Our highest cards are in the siege area. As you can see, our 8 card and our 6 card are both siege area. So I don't want to have this in my hand because it will just be useless. I would just be doing more harm than good to myself. So I'll return this one. Now, I start first, so my immediate thing to do is play the spy. So I get to draw 2 cards. And as you can see, I now have all 3 commandos in game. So each one of these will turn into a 12-12. But you have to play carefully because if my opponent has something that destroys a card with the highest power, all 3 of them will die instead of just one. So you have to play careful on that one. So I'll be starting with playing a siege, which is just 1 point above what my opponent currently has. Right, in this case, he went with 5, so I'm going to go with a 4. So now I have 10, and he has 7. He plays a card of level 5. If you take notice in his symbols, these two can add to each other if he plays similar cards. So you have to play with some some caution there. So he has 3 cards on the close combat. He's got none on the ranged area, and he's got none on the siege. I've got none on the close combat. I got 1 on the ranged area, and I got 1 on the siege. So in this case, this card here, which is the terrain effect, will affect the part where he's got more cards going on. As you can see, this will set the strength of all close combat cards to 1 for all of these cards. So this will be a 1, this will be a 1, this will be a 1. But if I play this now, he might be tempted to either pass and sacrifice this turn, or he will just play something on a different area instead of putting more cards in here. So in this case, I'm going to just play something else, and I'll put this one here. So I stay on top of him, forcing him to play more cards. So in this case, he's got 15, I've got 22. Unfortunately, I have to stay on top, so I'll have to play this one right here. You'll see that one will multiply with each other. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to force him to use a clear weather just in case he's got one in his hand. So I'm going to use my general ability because he's got 10 points just in this area and I've got 9. But if I use the impenetrable fog from my leader, which I will activate by pressing square, I will have 2 points here and they will just have 1. So I'll still be on top there. So I will go with that option. So he's got 19 and I've got 16. But you see what just happened? He just passed the turn. So because he's passed the turn, all I have to do now is play a card there that will give me the advantage, and I'll pass and I win this round. I get to draw a card because I won the round. And in this case, we got something for the siege section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that very same card. I'm hoping that if he does have something in his hand that will force us to sacrifice to destroy our highest cards, I'm hoping that he plays this as soon as possible so I can rest assured these will survive. So I will now force this here. He's most likely going to pass the turn. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to return this one to my hand. He didn't pass the turn. He's actually going to resurrect a card, which is a spy, which is great because in this case I cannot return the spy to my hand and play it, so I no longer have the card advantage, which is a shame here. I wish I had saved the decoy to go get that card. Unfortunately, I didn't predict this movement, so I'm in a big disadvantage here. I'm going to pass the turn and sacrifice this turn. I'm still hoping that if he does have the card that destroys my highest one, it will be spared. He used the clear weather, so that is not a good sign. I'll play this one now. Fighting Frost, which is not great because it will harm us, but ultimately we have the advantage because our cards will still multiply. Oh, I won the round. He has no chance. He's got no cards in hand. I already won, but I'll still play this card just for the victory dance. And this is it. As you can see, it's more about strategy and trying to anticipate your opponent's movements. And this is it. I won. I get my 20 crowns from the bet, and I have received the Fautist card. So if you go into the Gwent deck, you'll see that now on my leader, I have Fautist, the Siege Master, which doubles the strength of all your siege units unless the Commander's Horn is also present on that row. So a Commander's Horn is a card that will double the strength of all the units in the specific area. So it will apply its effects either on close combat or ranged or siege. This ability from the leader will do the same for our siege units. So if you go back to the deck, you will see that most of our good cards are actually in the siege area. Most of the cards that will significantly give us damage are in the siege area. So it's a good option to have to multiply that number. And yeah, this is it. This is basically how you can get an easy win right from the start and start your Gwent going in The Witcher 3. But now let's go for a much more interesting Gwent game when you first duel the Bloody Baron. And in this case you get quite a good reward because he will give you a spy card, and as I've explained previously, spy cards are very powerful in this game. So we are going to start the game with trying to go just a high number. In this case I start with the number 8 catapult, which he replies with doing the same. I'm going to go with the level 6 one. He also plays the level 6. In this case I'm going to go with the number 1 that also boosts the other siege cards. And again I play another one. So I am ahead on 22 to 19. He plays something in the ranged section for 5. I didn't want to play this card just yet, but yeah, at this point it's best to play the ranged for 5 as well, so I stay ahead. In this case, I have just to keep waiting to see what he's going to do. He's going to boost all those ranged cards quite high, so he's now ahead 44 to 31. So I'm going to punish him by putting a fog in the ranged section. so I stay ahead. He passes, I automatically win. I'm just going to pass as well. He has 3 cards in hand. I have 3 cards in hand, but I'm going to draw a card. So I have card advantage. Always remember, card advantage is very powerful in this game. I'm going to start with the level 4 in the range section. He goes with the level 6 in the siege section. I play a level 5 in the siege section that has the ability to return a card from the discard pile back to play. And I return the one that will combo with the other one I have in my hand. He gives me a spy, which is perfect because then I use the decoy on the spy that he played, and I'm going to play it back to him. So I don't lose the card advantage here. As I said many times, card advantage is massive. We were very lucky to draw another one of our combo cards. He plays one more spy in our siege section, which is not bad. It's only a level 1, but we can always activate our leader ability, which will double our siege cards. He does destroy our combo, which is a shame, but considering that at this point in time I don't believe he has a lot more going on for his hand, we might still be able to make it. So let's see, I have no cards in hand. He's now at 19, I'm at 24. I play my commander ability, so I stay 30. He is still on 19. Let's see what he's got. Torrential terrain, so we do get punished. And he has another torrential rain, so we do take the win ultimately. Now for the next round. Unfortunately, I didn't capture the beginning of it, but you can still see what's going on. So here I'm debating what to do. I use my ability card from my leader to double the attack power on my siege section. He plays a hero card. Hero cards are very useful because they all have very high numbers, but on another hand, they are not targeted by any ability cards. So a folk card will not affect a hero card, but multipliers such as the Commander's Horn also do not duplicate the power of the card. It gives me a spy, which is great. As I've done it before, I'm going to use the decoy to return the spy to my hand, so I can then play the spy and get myself some cards. He's going to give me another spy, but please take note that the spy that he played is level 9, as the one that I'm using is only a power 4. I draw another spy, which is great. I'm going to play that spy. Get even more card advantage. He's got 5 cards in hand, I've got 7. He's ahead of me 66 to 57. He is going to pass, which is not a surprise, but I can still take the win on this round. So I'm going to play this one, which will give us all the way up to 65. And if I play one more, we stay 77. So we take the win. Now I still have 6 cards in hand. I draw an extra card. I'm going to start with this one just to see what he's going to do about it. He's going to get a card from the discard pile, so he's most likely going to get a spy. He's actually going to play a spy from his own discard pile by returning it to the field by using his siege card with the same ability. This is pretty useless at the moment, so I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm probably going to try to trick him here. I'm going to use the Commander's Horn on the spy, so he destroys the spy, and then I return the spy by using my siege card on the right. Perfect, it worked. He destroys my spy, which is what I wanted. I play my siege, and I return the spy, so I get to draw 2 cards. So he no longer has a massive card advantage. And perfect draw for us, we draw one of the cards that combines with each other. But I don't want to risk that he destroys them again, so I'm going to go with something else. I'm going to use one of them, just to see how he reacts. He plays a hero card. This is pretty useless at the moment, but maybe he has some more in hand, which is not the case. He plays another folk card for the siege section. I'm gonna go with the combination card. I don't think he has anything to destroy in his hand because he only 3 cards short. If he had it, he would have played it by now. I am ahead 35 to 22. We probably got this. He plays a spy, which gives us 9, but because I have the commander's horn, it multiplies, so it stays 18. So his play was not actually that clever, unless he draw 2 very powerful cards, and unfortunately he draw to the pile. Oh, he has a clear weather, so everything clears up, but I still have the advantage 76 to 47, and I win. So, as you can see, the number one advantage in Gwent is card advantage. The more cards you buy, you draw, the more cards you have in hand, so the more options you have. Let's go for one more round. So this time I'm playing a monster deck. Monster decks are very powerful because they have quite a lot of abilities to go fetch cards from the deck straight into the battlefield. Like this one, look. He plays this one and he grabs 2 more. One from his deck and one actually was in his hand. So that's not good because he actually loses card advantage. Now he plays this one. He gets another 2 from the deck. So take notice that he has 18 and I only have 15, but he already put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards and I only played 2. I don't understand what he was doing with this decoy. That was absolutely useless because he's not going to get any extras with that. I don't really understand what he was thinking. So he's just going to play it again and he had no advantage. What he just did was pointless. He returned the card to his hand and that card gave him no advantage. So I am ahead 23 to 18. He's going to fetch more cards with that ability. Take a look at how many cards he has in that closed combat section. He has all that many cards, but he's paying a nasty price because he only has 3 cards in hand. Now reduced to 2. He's ahead of me 36 to 20. I'm going to pass because he only has 2 cards in hand. So I am actually going to intentionally lose this round. Because if I play a card, I'm going to lose the card advantage, and I'm never going to make up for that difference. So I lose intentionally. He's going to pass straight away. All I have to do is put a card. I pass. I win. Now, because I win the round, I get to draw a card. So we keep the card advantage we had anyways. He's got an impenetrable fog, which is useful, but I don't think he's going to give him the win. He plays his ability, so he uses a commander horn on his closed combat section. But he only has 1 card. He passes the turn already. We're just going to wrap this up by using the leader's ability as well. And this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed these examples of Gwent rounds. I hope this guide is helpful, especially for those who didn't really try the Gwent game inside the the Witcher game, which is very fun. It just takes a bit of practicing and a bit of getting familiar with the cards and what they do and how you can take the best out of them. I hope this guide helps you, and if you haven't subscribed yet, just yet, please consider doing so. Your support is very much appreciated. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below as well. And this is Karima saying goodbye for now. Cheerio!